Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Beyond measure.
I'm gonna show you how great I am. Last night I cut the light off in my bedroom, hit the switch, was in the bed before the room was dark. I'm gonna show you how great I am. Only last week I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
Man, that's 2 days in a row I've done that. Come on, Josh. Get your shit together. How's everyone doing? Oh man, the chroma key looks terrible. This shirt. All of a sudden looks better. That's weird. Okay, cool. Cheers, everyone. I obviously don't have my shit together. I forgot my cool... You know, cheers. Let's just cheers first. How about that? Ugh, dog hair. My dog's fur gets in everything. Love my puppies, though. Cheers to my puppies. Okay. Yeah, and I have the X feed up still like a dumbass. I have live up like a dumbass. Welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome to the shit show. Anyways. Okay. I also forgot to put my cool little icon up that I was so proud of, so I'm going to do that real quick. Just bear with me, guys. I title it. It's Commie Crat something, I think. Yep, there it is. Cool. Let's see if this... Why is it so tiny? Oh, you're killing me. Killing me, Smalls. I'm killing me. So you're seeing behind the Oz curtain here, guys. This is what I do offline. Thanks for bearing with me, everyone. Cheers again. Now we can start. So tonight's topic. Commie Crats are blinded by hate, and their vocabulary is garbage. And we have to stop using it. If you're an independent, and especially if you're on the right wing of politics, you gotta stop using words like conspiracy theorist, or phrases, I should say. Phrases like conspiracy theorist, or they love to use the word racist out of context. The big one, democracy. They've used that so much that all the talking heads on the right now in right-wing media always use the word democracy to describe our constitutional republic. It drives me fucking insane. What the hell? Like, right-wing talking heads, if you think you're being cute and trolling the left by using the word democracy, they're laughing their asses off and taking the money to the bank because you're giving them free advertising. You're part of their psyop. I found a really good video that I'm about to share with you guys. About 11 and a half minutes long, so it'll probably take up my time of the episode, maybe longer. If people pop in, I will cut myself off at 30 minutes after, and I want to hear your 2 cents. It's your show, I'm just the host. Let your hair down here, be you. No need to wear a mask. The only people I ever will mute are people that are intentionally disrupting the show and making it miserable for everyone else. That's the only time I will mute anyone. So I want to hear everyone's 2 cents. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we find the real truth. Stuff you don't find in mainstream media. Stuff you don't find in right-wing media, like the Charlie Kirk Show and Dennis Prager. And I love all those guys and Tatum. But they use the word democracy interchangeably with constitutional republic all the time. They don't even say the words constitutional republic anymore. They just say democracy. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? That's what the left, they brainwash you. They brainwash you, and then you spit out their narrative. And they're sitting there going, this is awesome. We have the left, or we have the right beat. They're saying our words for us. How great is that? And they're absolutely right. This is a big reason why they win. A big reason. So, with that, let's just jump into the video. I'm going to interject my 2 cents here and there. I'll try to keep it as short as possible. You know me, though. Next to impossible. Cheers, everyone. Enjoy the video and enjoy my 2 cents. Or don't. Get the glass. Get the shirts. Shameless plugs. JD's2cents.com. And these are all the platforms I'm on. X, DLive, Rumble, and CommuTube. Well, I mean YouTube. JD's2cents.com. Just drop it in the chats here real quick, because I want to see how that's going on the back end for all platforms. Rumble, I did contact Restream support again yesterday, and there's still no ETA on adding you guys and bringing you into the circle so you don't have to be a redheaded stepchild. Sorry. I'm trying. I'm trying for you. But you know how that is. Corporations and all. Anyways, guys, enjoy the video. Here we go.
You are most likely a victim of psychological warfare, and you probably haven't even realized it yet. This psychological war on your mind is actually still raging on as hard as ever, and in fact, it's only intensifying. Of course, it's easier now to figure out what's going on thanks to more popularity in destroying our victimizers' ideology. However, it's still a battle that needs to be won. And this battle that I'm talking about is you using your victimizers' verbiage, right? Using leftist verbiage, Marxist verbiage, whatever you want to call them. They're the same people, ultimately. But these people have trained you and conditioned you to speak like them and ultimately think like them without you even noticing. So the whole purpose of psychological warfare and this particular psychological operation is to rewire your brain so that you accept their ideology in some sense or another. Using their language is ultimately submitting to these people. And hopefully, when you watch this video, you'll become conscious of what I'm talking about here. You'll be able to see it in the real world, and you'll be able to stop using it. You'll free yourself. Otherwise, if you choose not to, or you say, oh, but these words are good, or these sayings are good, you're just some.
Sorry, just realized I was muted. Man, I'm on point tonight, aren't I, guys? Cheers, everyone. Thanks for sitting here and dealing with my bullshit. Anyways, what I was saying. Great points here. When we use the leftist vocabulary, we are empowering them, and I am so guilty. And I've especially when it comes to like words like conspiracy theorist or phrases, conspiracy theorist, I've used that a lot. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I'm calling myself a conspiracy theorist. What the fuck? What am I doing? That's the one I use the most. let me know which one you use the most down in the chat. No shame here. I'll be the first to admit I used a lot of their words and still do. I still slip up, but we got to start fighting back. We got to start being really conscious of this and stop furthering their agenda, because what he's saying is spot on. We are slaves to them. We are in servitude to their nasty, commie crap, Marxist bullshit, garbage left agenda, as long as we keep using these words. Spot on there.
Admitting, and that's stupid. So throughout this video, when I'm talking about these specific examples, I want you to picture yourself in a social situation where you are confronted with this type of psychological warfare. And imagine yourself countering it by either using different words or not talking about it at all. Because you're going to feel very uncomfortable when you do that. You really will. And
he's right here. It'll take practice, right, to retrain our brains, because we've been brainwashed by the left. And the first step out of denial, which isn't the river in Egypt, is to admit that you have a problem. Okay? And the problem is left-wing vocabulary and using it when you say that you're completely against their garbage. But then you go and use their vocabulary. So what does that tell people? It's a mixed message at that point. They're like, well, you said you're not for the left, but then you're describing our political governmental structure as a democracy. It's a constitutional republic. What the fuck? So he's very right here. It'll take practice, repetition, catch yourself. It'll be embarrassing. Even if you're like, well, our democracy, if you're talking to someone, well, our democracy, hold on, I mean our constitutional republic. Sorry, I slipped up there. Even if you have to backtrack with a person and educate them on why you're saying that way. Like, I'm retraining my brain. I'm breaking away from the leftist vocabulary bullshit, which is a psyop. It's a total very effective and very powerful Marxist tool, communist tool, to destroy a capitalist society from its roots. Everything that our country was founded on and what made it great.
that's because that's you taking one small step to actively fight against and protect against your victimizer's psychological warfare. Crazy, right? But it's true. And so when you feel uncomfortable, it's a good thing. So anyway, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that our victimizers have created a lexicon of words for us to use. And the more you repeat these words, the more you will either be sympathetic or adopt their ideology, or even just be a pawn for their ideology. It's a very similar tactic to having a child write a phrase on the chalkboard when they did something wrong. I will not spit spitballs at Tommy in class. I will not spit spitballs at Tommy in class, right? You do it over and over and over and over and over again. And eventually they just accept it because they say in their brain they're not going to do something. So it's the same principle and it's the same tactic, and they're doing it on you. So I have three main subjects of words that I would like to talk about here about what they're doing to you. So of course there is gender marking in titles and positions. There's ad hominems, and there's ultimately identity descriptors. Now the names of these probably aren't the best titles, but let's just roll with it. So gender marking in titles and positions. This is the most common thing that I see. Everyone uses it no matter whether they're left, right, whether they're a woman, whether they're a man, whether at the top of the hierarchy or the lowest part of the hierarchy. They use these words. And this is probably one of the most successful parts of the psychological operation that has been conducted on us. And it's ultimately to allow our verbiage to be inclusive to other people, to make yourself consciously aware that other people are involved, right? It's literally poking you in the chest whenever you say it, or you feel like you have to say it, or you hear people saying it, that DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, is here, and it's here to stay, and there's nothing you can do about it except submit, right? It's actually incredibly clever, and it's very annoying. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about suffixes, the suffix of man or men. with words and how it's usually swapped for something else, whether it's person or representative or men and women or people, or it's just dropped altogether. So, for example, fishermen, policemen, servicemen, congressmen, all these types of things, instead of saying those things, people now say service men and women, congress person, business person, fisher instead of fisherman. They just say fisher, right? Things like that. These suffixes have been dropped or changed. Now, the thing is it's obvious at this point. They're trying to make our words be all inclusive. It's to shove in your face diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's the whole purpose of it. It's to make you consciously aware.
He's so right here. DEI. But DEI needs to DIE. DEI needs to DIE. I'm not so guilty of this one. I will not be forced. I made a conscious decision when they started trying to shove all the pronoun bullshit down our throats. I took a course to become a UX designer earlier this year, which ended up being a total shit show and a waste of $5,500, which they're not going to get because it's a loan and I have bad credit anyway, so fuck them. Basically, we were the second through the course and just total guinea pigs, and they didn't disclose any of that to us. So, no, you're not going to get my money for a shit product. Sorry. Not sorry. Some of you might think that's wrong. Whatever. I don't care. When it comes to that, like, I've made up my mind. I made my decision. So anyways, that's a rabbit trail. The point I'm making, of course, trying to get in and break into tech, corporate America, people putting their pronouns up in the Zoom chats, the people that were part of, I'll just say it, Merit America. If you ever come across Merit America, don't ever use them. They are the epitome of a pig with lipstick on. Like, their staff is great, they're super friendly, but they're friendly to the point of just being totally fake, if you know what I mean. So if you ever come across Merit America, boot camps, don't use them. They suck. Because what I got on the back end was this certificate and no way to get a job. And what it really opened my eyes to, though, is like, do I really want to go and be part of corporate America again? I fought so hard to separate myself from corporate America and to just live a simple life and to be content and grateful for what I have. Do I really want to go back into that? Oh, I should just do a whole episode on this because this is off topic. Sort of. What I was talking about was pronouns. And so all the Merit America staff have to use the pronouns. And they try to... It was very passive-aggressive all the time. Because they would put it up in their little titles on Zoom. And what I found really encouraging, no one in our class, which started out to be like 30 people and diminished down to like 5, ever put their pronouns up in their Zoom. Which I was like, yes, people still have brains out there. Thank God. People don't internalize it like we do. We're brainwashed to a point. But that was really encouraging to me to see that people aren't buying into the pronoun bullshit, which is huge. It's great. It's great news. So that will continue.
And submit. But more importantly, it's grammatically incorrect. If we take the word men or the suffix men and we look at its etymological roots, it goes back to Old English. And really in Old English, having men or man at the end of a word just meant person, right? It was already a gender-neutral word. It was already a gender-neutral meaning. Now, of course, traditionally, some of these words did imply the adult man was behind these positions and titles. That is absolutely true. Policeman, for example. Infantryman, for example. Of course, grammatically speaking, it just meant person, just like the word human. One of the stupidest attempts to change some of our grammar was when people started saying herstory instead of history, like her story instead of his story. That's so stupid. That's one of the stupidest things that they've ever done. And of course, it didn't work because
Cheers.
we all found out it was stupid, or we all figured it out. All right, the next topic is ad hominems. These are insults. Now, the thing about an ad hominem is that it's a logical fallacy. It is essentially a non argument. It is basically a cop out. So people use ad hominems in order to shut down their opposition. So
Trump is Hitler. That's a perfect example of ad hominem. Or MAGA supporters are Nazis. I think you get the picture.
instead of having to come up with an actual argument, instead of actually using logic, reasoning, evidence, facts, they just call you a name. And hopefully, their intention is to get you crying because you're so offended by the name that you run away with your tail between your legs, pissing the whole way there. And that's what they try to do with it. And we all know ad hominems are stupid, right? We all
I like this guy. Cheers, guy. I like you.
get it. But little do you know, you probably have validated these ad hominems without even realizing it. So, what am I talking about? I'm talking about words like racist, bigot, fascist, extremist, whatever you want to call all these ists and phobes and whatever you want to call them. These words have been used against us many, many, many times. And it's because they don't have an argument. They can't argue against us because they don't have any facts or reasoning or logic behind what they're saying. And when they try, it's usually just a wall text that doesn't make any sense.
So spot on here. Remember that. The left always speaks lies. They never, well, very rarely. I'll take that back because if I do have time to jump into the news, I do want to share something Ed Krasenstein said today, which is trending in the news, which is the whole flag burning issue. I got a couple things I need to say just to clarify my position on that because I wasn't clear enough in what I was saying. I haven't changed my position on it. I just wasn't clear enough to make my position. There was a lot of ways to translate what I was saying, in other words. So, we'll get to that. I do need to get to it today, hopefully. We're almost out of time anyways. But I'll go a little long just to try to wrap this up. But yeah, what he's saying, just every time you hear a leftist talking to you, whether it be on the radio or news or wherever, or in person with just some brainwashed leftist, remember that everything, well, not everything, 99% of what comes out of their mouths are lies, non-facts, trying to shove their agenda down your throat. And they believe it. They're so far gone that they believe it. And that's why it is compelling, because it comes across as truth. But it definitely is not. So, great point there.
So, anyway, whether or not the word is actually being used correctly, don't say it. If the red people are actually being racist against the blue people, don't go, oh wow, those people are actually racist. Don't say that because you're just validating the words. And the less we validate them, the less effect that they have. Now, of course, the only reason why a lot of these words have lost their validity in the first place is because they were overused, right? Everything is racist. Everything is fascist. Everything is, evil. And, of course, the meaning of these words got lost. But more importantly, we're starting.
Right, and so that's a good point. So the KKK, they're fucking racist. And fuck you, KKK. Total racist. But the left has used that word so much now that when you apply it to the KKK, there's no sting to it anymore. There's no, yeah, they are racist. We're all racist, so what separates us from the KKK? You see the psyop there? What's actually going on?
Starting to fight back, and you're starting to see that these words don't mean anything to anyone anymore. And we need to keep it. They are used to tear you down. They're not used because your victimizers care about the fine lines of the truth. They are there to tear you down and to tear people down that you should be allying with. So stop using them. They're evil words. Before we
that is probably his best point so far. It's to divide us, to rip us apart. And they're doing a great job so far. I mean, Look at people on their cell phones. Won't talk to one another. Set your phones down. Have dinner together as a family if you're a family unit. Or with friends if you can, as much as possible. And do not look at your fucking phones. Engage with one another as human beings. Enjoy one another's company. And grow and love each other together. It's such a great point. And that's exactly why this vocabulary is so dangerous. Because it drives wedges between people and tears people apart, where they're afraid to talk to one another. Especially when it's like a new relationship or a new friendship, and you're like, wow, I really like this person, I want to hang out with them. But what if they think this of me? What if they think I'm a racist because I say this? And then that mask goes on. So what they're doing, really, in reality, with this vocabulary, is they're forcing you to wear a mask and not be your true, genuine self. And that's the absolute worst thing you can do as a human being.
Before we move on to the final topic, I do want to talk a little bit about what I'm doing in my private life. I am starting a business. There's a link in the description in the bottom. I don't know why I said it that way.
I would usually skip this, but he's good, so I'll let him plug his shit. Plug away, sir. Cheers.
But it is to Unity Strife Order, USO.agency. Please check out the website. It's still a work in progress. We have an online store. There's not very many things on there, but eventually it will grow. I have lots of ideas for things that I'd like to include in that online store. But of course, if you'd like to donate and support the channel, I have a link in the description to a Buy Me a Coffee. So if you'd like to buy this fine gentleman a drink, please consider doing so with the links in.
And I found this video on YouTube, guys. I will plug his stuff. I mean, I'm ripping off his video, so it's the least I can do, right? If it was garbage, I would probably not do this. But let me get... We're just going to pop out a full screen real quick so I can get the URL for you guys. There we go. Pop it in the chat. Rumblers gets you as well. Try not to forget my redheaded stepchildren over in Rumble. You will be adopted one day. One day. I promise. It might be 10 years from now. So, who knows?
In the description. Moving on, I want to get into the identity descriptors. These are